Okay, I want to show you how you can build a jawbreaker machine, some type of candy machine, if that is the option you choose to be inspired by Thiebaud. So we're going to start by making the globe. So I'm going to get my circle, hold the shift key to make it perfect. And actually, I just realized I need to make that smaller so we have some room here. Drag it to the side. Okay, so I pulled up, I pasted in a temporary picture of the painting so I can see the types of shapes that are used. All right, I'm gonna make this a tiny bit smaller. I'm gonna go ahead and select my background color. I just picked kind of like a light gray and picked a color for my border. I picked like a gold just because I thought it would be kind of fun. But you can do that whatever color you want. Need a border. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is make this the base of it. So I'm going to go over to my shapes and I am going to just do a rectangle for now. And you can decide what color you want that to be. I picked red because it's nice and bright, but I'm going to go ahead and get a gradient here. So I wanted a gradient that would go light red to dark red and be linear instead of radial. So I created that. Now I've got a custom gradient. I'm going to rotate it to the side because I want it to be, I'm holding down the shift key so it rotates easier. I want it to be sideways instead of up and down, and I forgot to change that when I made my setting. Okay, so now I need to make the curved part of the base so it looks like this is a cylinder. So in my shapes, if you go down to the bottom section, you'll see it's called a flow chart, stored data. So I'm going to just guess how big I want that to be. You'll see it makes it vertical. Since I want to rotate it, I'm going to hold down the shift key. It helps it go a little bit smoother. And now I'm going to resize it. I want it to be a little bit wider and I want to do a gradient there. So I made a gradient that would go left to right. I'm going to go back and pick a border color because I forgot to do that. You could just turn the border off if you want to as well. I'm going to put a border here. Okay, so to make it look like it wraps all the way around, because if you look close, you can see there's this weird gap. We don't want that to show. I'm actually going to make an ellipse that will go behind it. So I'm going to line it up, line up my little arrow so it's as wide as that is. And I'm going to drag it down. Now I'm going to do control and the down arrow to move it behind, and I'm just going to tap it into place. I just need to adjust it a tiny bit here. There we go. So now I've got a good start on my base, and I want to make some layers at the top. So I'm going to click on the bottom, Control C, Control V. I'm going to drag it up here, and I'm just going to click the middle square and drag it to be shorter. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller on the sides too. Got that red line when it's centered. And now I'm going to copy it and paste it again. Oops, I keep accidentally selecting a lot of stuff. Drag it up here. I'm going to do Control minus, and I'm going to drag it in so it gets, oh, good grief. So it gets shorter. Sorry, I have this balanced at a weird angle, so I'm having a hard time like controlling where I'm clicking. I went a little bit too far. All right, and then I could do that one more time if I want. I'm going to drag this circle down. I'm going to real quick make the circle that shows where the candy would come out, and then we will be right back and I'll show you the next step of this video. Okay, so I added one more layer there. I am going to drag to select all of this and just shift it up a bit. And now I'm ready to move on. If I wanted to add, just like some little stripes of other colors, I could easily do that. It wouldn't take very long. So if I want to do maybe like a rectangle that will go here behind, I could make it, dark or whatever color I want. If I wanted to add a border, I can do that. And then I am going to do Control minus until it is behind all the layers I want. So then I've got like a nice little shadow there. If I want to add one on the other side, I could do that. It's a little bit trickier to get it here because it's curved at the top. But I could also do a curved line, like if I wanted to add something around the bottom and just kind of like click where I think I want it to go. I could make that nice and thick and then pick a color. Whoops, I didn't mean to do a fill, transparent. Change my border color. And remember, I could use the double click to get the arrow to go back and adjust that. But I think I'm going to leave it for now. I want to start making some gumballs. So obviously, I need some circles to start with. So what I'm going to do is kind of make some separate circles, and then I will be able to duplicate them. So to make them look like they're kind of round, I want to make some custom gradients. You could use the ones that are already built in, and that'd be fine for some, but you probably want a little bit more variety. So if I want that one to just look like it's white, I could just come in and pick a border color that I like, make that a little bit thicker, and then, that can easily be a gumball. So to get them all the same size, I do Control C. I can do Control V and make as many different copies as I want. So maybe I'll make this many different gradients, and then I can just move them around until I have it how I want it. And then, of course, at the end, I'll come back and put in a background. So let's make some gradients. I sped up this section to make it faster, but remember to think about choosing a color that has a lot of contrast for your border to get those visual vibrations like Thiebaud talked about. You can even try complementary colors. And then we'll try a yellow border. Okay, so anyway, you would keep doing that. I have another one pulled up where I've already made just some gumballs. So once you get that, a really easy thing to do is to click one, hold down the Shift key, and just keep clicking on more. So you can select as many as you want. And then you can Control C, Control V. And then you've got a whole bunch of copies. You can rotate to fill in the gaps. You can come back and adjust them, but you want to make sure that you don't have any big holes. So it looks like there's gumballs filling up the entire thing. Now I want to add my background. Move this over here. I am going to make a light gray rectangle that fills my whole background. Obviously, you could make this whatever color you want. And I'm going to send it all the way to the back by doing Control Shift down arrow. Now I'm going to add a counter for it to sit on. So I'm going to turn the border off of that. And now I'm going to make another rectangle that I want to start kind of down here. I can't really tell if I have that in the right spot right now. Let me move this. Oh, not quite. And I'm going to add a border to this one. Oh, I'll make it green. And I'm going to do Control Shift down and then just Control arrow. So that way it was on the back, but then I brought it up one. Now I would like to add a shadow being cast from the bottom of the machine. So I'm going to get my ellipse tool, and I am going to kind of start it here at the lowest point of the curve. I'm going to stretch it over, and now I have to just kind of readjust it a bit to make it fit in there. I'm going to send this all the way to the back and then bring it up 2. I'm going to give it a border and give it a darker blue color. And now I have a shadow that's being cast. So I could go back and add, all sorts of other details if I want to. Think about adding other stripes of colors. I might shift it over so it's in the center and then turn that in. File, download as a JPEG, and then submit that to Google Classroom.